then it start coming towards my direction. And it will be either coming from this direction, coming this from the south, coming this one nice and slow. He end up stopping right in front, about two blocks away from me.
I was sleeping and he woke me up. It was about 3:30 in the morning, and he said, "You have to come and look at these lights." And
come here, it's okay. Mommy's good.
Automatically looked up to see this. All I can describe, this huge Mexican hut. It was stationary, this thing.
Like a sleep paralysis that you get. You can't move, you're frozen, you can yell all you want. You know, your partner could be right next to you, your wife, and they can hear you, but you see something that's going on.
I was inside of a ship about 18 feet in diameter.
things started happening immediately, almost.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Alien Strand Podcast. So I'm on live right now. Thank you guys for just watching and keeping up, man, and keeping up with everything that's going on, especially with podcasting, UFOs, extraterrestrials, and on my page. Unfortunately, for some reason, Facebook will only keep it private only to me. It won't let me share it to everybody out there. So if you're watching right now on Facebook, I'm sorry. It's on. I can see it on my Facebook. I just cannot share it to everybody else. But whoever you guys are, we're watching right now on Rumble. I see you guys on YouTube. We're watching right now, and on X. So thank you guys for watching right now. And it's unfortunately Facebook does that sometimes. I don't know why they do that, but it is what it is, right? I hope everybody's doing well now. Of course, I started podcasting again. I stepped away for a little bit, but that's okay. There's Cindy. Hi, Cindy. How you doing, man? I got some stories for you today. I do got some stories for you. It's coming here in a minute. But if you guys didn't see my podcast the other day, watch me on Patreon. Go join that for free. All right, so it's free. Go to Patreon. Go join that, and then you can see a podcast that I did. It was about 15 minutes long. Go check that out, and it's pretty interesting. There was new discovery there, and it's not very long, but it was to give you a lot of information of what you want to see on news, man, because what do? They shrug a lot of this off, right? And then after that podcast, I did an actual audio podcast. So if you caught it, it was on audio, right? So it was called Time for Disclosure. I put that out yesterday, or I believe, or the day before yesterday. So I hope you guys heard it. That one's about an hour long, all right? And I talk about disclosure and about the time for disclosure, which is now, right? And of course, with the film that just came out, and they're boosting it out there, which is great. It shows a lot of information on the industrial complex and what they're keeping in the background and everything back there, right? So at that point, it is what it is. And I talk about that because are they ever going to give us straight answers? what are you thoughts about out there about the government giving us straight answers about these little guys, right? Are they or are they not? Yeah, you already know what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say no, right? They've been hiding it for years, and they're just gonna keep on hiding. That's just the way it is. It's unfortunate that we will probably never find out, right? Because they might have something that we are not supposed to see, as far as like energy devices, things like that, right? Of these craft, of course, now our technologies have exploded like no tomorrow, and why didn't it happen in the 1800s? Before all that time, before the 1920s, 19 by 1930s, 1940s, things started blowing up, right? We just took off as our thinking and technology just exploded. What happened, right? Hey, man, I just think that we got visits, and they said, you know what, these people need to move along, come on, go. Like little kids where you have the little bumper guards, or you're teaching them how to walk. Well, maybe that's what they were doing with us. I mean, it's a possibility. These guys, they're saying, well, they need to get going, or hey, maybe they're just too smart for their own good, right? What we are now, right? But that's possibly what they're thinking. Maybe. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But all right. So as you know, I was putting out that book, and you just saw it right now. This came from Heather McClellan, all right, up in Scotland. She sent it to me, right? That's the book there. Oh, there, right there. All right. It's a very short little book. It's not very long. Look, see, but it has a lot of things that happened there in Scotland. Very interesting things of UFOs, landings, crafts flying by nearby. People were just seeing these things from the 1979s all the way to 1990s, right? And he ended up, this guy, the gentleman in the back, he ended up finding uh, he just saw something himself, and it intrigued him so much that he had to investigate. He wasn't like a any kind of reporter or anything like that. He just decided to do it. So after he started investigating further and further, getting into a lot of stories, there's a lot of activity up there in Scotland. People just say, "Oh, United States, they're hot." We are a hotspot. Believe me, we are. But there's other countries that do have a lot of activity as well. We just never hear the stories, right? And so this is an amazing, great book because it has a lot of details, a lot of times, dates, details on things that happened in the past, right? And that's what we want to focus our attention to, because you got to remember AI now. I talked about Google and Wikipedia, and of course, when you ask these AI programs, to help you find things, even Google, when you search or research things, it's not going to be correct. All right, it's not 100% correct. Got to remember that. All right, these AI programs are only picking up different words and things, and it's putting things together. It's not always going to give you the correct answer, which is about 80% of it is correct, right? And chat GPT, things like that, when you're looking for research, right? It's not going to always be correct. So keep on looking and dig deep and down. And these older books, that you can't change this information, it's already there. This is what I'm trying to say, right? So sometimes it's good just to get your fingers dirty a little bit and get in there and get some of these older stories, because those stories cannot be changed. Unfortunately, these chat GPTs things, they'll get the names wrong or times and dates, right? So watch what you look at on TikTok, or even on here on Facebook or anything like that, to where you see a lot of these information from these people are putting out there. It's not going to be 100% correct. All right. So dig down a little bit and just kind of know what you're getting into when you're watching these things. And I'm just kind of giving you my point of view and my thoughts, because I've been researching a lot of this stuff for a very long time, and I do it for you guys, right? So because I want you guys to know the truth and the reality of things. Now, speaking of truth and reality of things, so I have a friend of mine. He lives up there in Missouri. His name is Mr. Mark Stockton, right? Good friend of Miss Cindy Grigsby, which is right there. You see her chatting up there. And he's a police officer, does patrols out there, and he sent me a picture the other last night. And he says, "Man, I don't know what this is," and I'm going to put the picture up. So this is his inside of his patrol car, and in the patrol car, you see that line that goes across, not the moon that's reflecting back, but look at the line that's across, right? That line right there is in the sky. See that line right there from starting right there all the way across? All right. So that's not on his windshield. It's nothing. It's just a line. He says it's just a line. We have clear skies tonight, and there's this line across the sky. And I don't know what it is, or maybe something flew by or whatever. It just looks very strange to me, right? So he sends me the pictures. We got a few photos. Unfortunately, it's inside the patrol car. And I always tell people, when you take pictures, please try to stick your camera out the window, or stand or park where it's safe to do so, and take a photo so you can get a clear photo without the reflections, because then reflections make it seem like it's something different, right? Something that's not there. But that was there in the sky. Now, mind you, right before that, I have a friend. Her name's Rosie. Happy birthday, Rosie. Today's her birthday. All right. So Miss Rosie, good friend of mine, good people. I love her to death. She posted something as well. She starts saying, man, there's something. She lives in Arkansas, I believe. And she says, something's in the sky, and it's just strange to me. And this is how it started, right? So it started off like as a puff of cloud, right? That's all it was, in the afternoon, right? And I know we've had these fronts come through, but she says all of a sudden, she goes, that one cloud changed into a form within, I don't know, 10 minutes. And she says, and it looked strange. It started stretching like a line, right? And this is what you see there, right? That's the line that you see. So it went from the original picture from here, right, to 10 minutes later, and it turns into this. Now, mind you, later on that evening, Mr. Mark Stockton, he saw this, right, across the sky. This is in Missouri. She's in Arkansas. All right. So she says on this photo, it just started taking shape, and it almost looked like the clouds were making some sort of a facial. She said it almost looked like demonics, like demon faces and stuff were coming out in the clouds. I've seen that before, and it could be, what is it called, paranoia or something like that. It could be that, or it could be something different, right? And or it could have been the front that came through. But she said for it to just do that, it was strange, right? So then later on that evening, I decided to kind of research a little bit, of course, on Facebook and all those good other platforms. I grabbed this, right? And it says, wow, did you see this cloud? It storms. This is Sunday night meteorologist Casey Campbell believes this is a roll cloud. She says it is a rare cloud that detaches from the main of the storms, generally that is harmless, and often when it's cold air trying to push warm air into areas. That makes sense with the strong cold front that passed through yesterday. All right. So is this the same thing that Mark saw? It kind of looks exactly like it, doesn't it? Um, but isn't that strange? I mean, have you ever seen this before? Um, as growing up as a child or younger, when we used to look up in the skies and stuff, I've never seen stuff like that. Of course, times change, and things do look different than they appear, right? Sometimes they do. And maybe it was that cold front that blew in, but it sure was a strange one for it to be seen all through those states. Of course, that's what cold fronts do. But from Rosie said, from that one cloud, it's stretching out to other ones. Hey, you never know. I'm just throwing it out there for you guys to kind of think about it, brain it out a little bit. Maybe you'll find a solution to it. It's a possibility, right? And Cindy says it's very active here. She lives in Portageville, Missouri, right? She gets a lot of good stuff there in her backyard. Oh my God. She gets great videos and photos of actual craft UFOs that actually are flying around her area. And can these crafts, of course, we talk about it all the time, do they have a pilot inside of them? Yes, they do. Um, we generally get this information from what they look like. We never think about what's inside, but we know something's piloting these things. These are the pilots that were in that Turkey video in the late 90s that they got from when they zoomed into that crap that was floating there for a few hours, mind you, right? So, if there's a craft floating there, well, sometimes people do get abducted at times, right? And they will. And there was this older video out there. This gentleman said he was getting abducted over and over a few times uh, by these extraterrestrials, and they would bring him back, and they would come back to him over and over. And he had a YouTube channel for a while there, and he was throwing it out there a lot. I mean, a lot. And we were trying to get a lot of information from that, but we couldn't. It was hard to do that from him, right? And it's crazy that we're not able to figure out exactly where this happened. But I'm going to show you this video. It might be a little loud, but check it out. This is the what he caught with his camera back then. This was I'm talking. I've seen this video before, maybe about 8 years old, 8 years ago. But check out this video. It's a little grainy, but you'll see what I'm talking about. All right. So what you see there is an actual. They put the dramatic music in there. I know, I get it. It's a little over dramatic sometimes, but um, what you saw there was an extraterrestrial that was inside the craft after it dropped him off, right? So this guy was able to jump in and out of this craft a few times, but he said his phone. I remember this. He said his phone never worked or whatever he was using inside the craft. So he was always able to capture the video or the photo outside the craft, maybe because of the electronic magnetic field that's around this craft. We always talk about that over and over and over of what it is. So and that's the possibility of what that why he could not get any closer videos, or he couldn't remember sometimes, but later on he did start communicating with them over and over, and they were taking him actually out of the off planet and taking him to different places. I remember that. And then his YouTube channel came down. So this is the strange part about that, right? It's like, why would it come down, if it wasn't further from the truth, right? Maybe, right? And he says this is what they look like, right? And we always see them in photos and videos, of course, of what these extraterrestrials look like. And this is what's inside those crafts, right? We always talk about the pilots over and over and over of who are they, what are they, right? And when they do get shot down or they do crash, and there is a retrieval, right? So they do retrieve the contents and even the occupants that are in it. Of course, we grabbed that photo from 1947. This is the actual crash that was in a book, and somebody posted it or actually put it in a book, not realizing people didn't realize that this was a actual photo and it's not a painting. So this photo is actually in the National Archives. I brought this to your attention the last time. That photo of 1947 is the actual craft. As you know, it's in a ravine. It's like boom, it's in a hole. Kind of hard to see, but you can see the wingtip sticking up out of the ground, which is a little or a greenish color, right? And the cockpit's at the very bottom. So and it kind of looks like those old ships from back in the in the 60s, the way they kind of look like in films, right? So and when you zoom into the photo, you see the actual extraterrestrial as it's laying there, right? Kind of hard to make up, but you can see it laying on its back, his arms up in the air, and that's what's in that photo, right? And they didn't realize that this is what's there, right? Okay, so what if these extraterrestrials crash, or some are alive, some are taken, and things start floating out there of what it really is, or what people don't know, that there's actually seen an actual photo or video of a craft, right? So this photo just recently came up on the web. I've seen it before, but I didn't think anything of it at the beginning. And I saw this sometime last year, but it ended up popping up again. And I saw it, which is this photo right here of an extraterrestrial. You can kind of look into its eyes, and it's got a mouthpiece inside of its mouth to help it breathe. And in this photo, so this photo was taken, not too long ago. It's pretty clear. It's digitized photo. You can tell, and it's not. It doesn't look so analogish, right? But in photos, you got to remember what people don't understand is in photos, there's a lot of metadata, right? Metadata. Think about that for a minute. Metadata. So in a photo, there's data in that photo. You can send that photo to Google to metadata, and it'll tell you exactly where that picture was taken, what time it was taken, and what exposure they use, everything like that, right? Will be inside a photo, right? You can encrypt your photos. So people don't really do that. They don't think about it because if you have your iPhone, right? Let's just say, I'm going to learn you something. If you have your iPhone, you can, when you look at the info, it'll have a little quotation mark or something there, exclamation point on the photo. You can click on that and it'll give you all the information, the metadata on the photo, what time it was taken, where was it taken, the location it was taken, things like that, right? Why am I telling you this? Because this photo has a location where this photo was taken. And this is where it was taken at. Dugway headquarters. Right? What is Dugway headquarters? If you guys know or you don't know. Well, as you dig into the net a little bit and you kind of search around or look for what you're looking at, it's basically a military base. Okay. That is a military base. And where that photo was taken was inside of that building that I just showed you. Right. So did they have this extraterrestrial in there not too long ago? Maybe. And that's the strange part about this photo. That when you search the metadata on it, you look at it and it comes out as that place, right? So when I looked it up, this is what I got. The headquarters for Dugway Proving Ground DPG isn't a single public facing office, but the entire U.S. Army facility, Utah, West Desert. Major centers are testing chemical and biological, and Commander currently Colonel Brian Sanson, and the operating under the Army's Testing and Evaluation Command, right? This is what's coming up on when you Google it, right? So their mission is to America's premier site for testing chemical and biological, radioactive, and explosives. Right? They have defense systems and supporting warfighter readiness. Right? So in other words, this is a high priority place. Right? If you really think about it, what this place is, and when you start talking about biological, well, what do they say? What is a major rule when they say when you come in contact with one of these? They always tell you do not touch one, right? Do not touch one. Why? Because they're contaminated. They have biological pathogens, right? Something that will probably kill you. Maybe the slime or something that they're breathing that might happen to you, right? So this is why there is extraterrestrials out there that are not going to be let's just say carbon friendly, right? As we are carbon, we're made out of carbon, but they're not going to be carbon friendly to where it will get you sick and it might contaminate you, right? So that is the crazy part about that photo and what came out of it, right? These are the things that people don't really look at and understand sometimes, right? Because they're not really digging. They're not really digging. And these are actual extraterrestrials that are out there, and they are out there watching, and they're out there, uh, coming around human beings when we don't really want them around. They just decide to show up, right? So, and here's another photo. This is a recent photo in Argentina. This woman uh, grabbed this still from this extraterrestrial that was standing outside her window, right? And it might look a little different, but it might look the same if you kind of look at it, right? And that's the strange part, that these things are that they actually exist, right? So know that these entities actually exist out there, and we have them. Come on, we have them. And this is why this disclosure came out, this film. It was so popularized. People went out there, and of course it was the highest grossing film, documentary film for Amazon. What does that tell you? That means everybody and their mother saw it, right? And that's what it was about, right? So, and people do have visitations too, as well as UFOs that come around. We see them all the time, just like this one. I'm going to show you this one. It's a little loud, but check it out anyway.
This guy had to hurry up and pull his camera out, and we look at what he catches in the sky. And look how flat that UFO disc is. But it's definitely a UFO. Like, look at that. Watch how it fly off. Look at that. I play it again in slow motion, just so you can see the size of this UFO and how flat it is. Like, look at this.
Yeah. So, and this is what people see every day, right? Things like that. And that was huge, whatever it was. It was huge. And it's strange, not to believe what the things that we see up in the sky, but those things do exist, of course. And then I'm gonna show you another video here of Juanito Juan. It was his last, or not last, but recent video that he had of an ET that was in that same hallway outside. Um, and I'm going to show it to you. He's talking in Spanish, but that way you can see how its arm starts kind of shining, and it manifested itself in its house too, where it was just nothing there, and all of a sudden it just appeared in smoke. It's crazy. It's crazy how this thing starts visiting him. Anyway, check this out real quick.
Mira eso, güey. Y mira, mira. Mira, y le brillan los brazos, güey. Mira. Mira eso, güey. Mira, mira cómo brilla, mira cómo brilla. No te mames. No te mames, mira cómo brilla.
Look at the way it moves its head.
No te mames, mira cómo se está. Mira cómo se está. Mira, se. Ve eso, no mames, ve cómo mueve su cabeza, ve. No mames, güey. Ve cómo se materializa, mira eso, no manches, güey. Ve cómo se puso blanco ahora. No mames.
Yeah. So he's saying, look how the head's moving. You see how the head's doing like this? Remember that video they show of they have an alien that they captured, and you could see the head doing this while they're talking to it and trying to subdue it. It's in the dark. I think it happened in 1994. and there's a video of it. It's only a short clip, about maybe a minute long, and you see the head doing the same thing, and it looks like that one right there that we just saw, right? And that's the strange part about that extraterrestrial that's there, because I mean, it looks just like it could. I don't know. It kind of looked like it was wearing some kind of an outfit, and it tends to cloak itself when it shows up in his house, in his home. But he gets a lot of UFOs over his home, like clear as day, man. And what happens when these extraterrestrials abduct you or abduct people, and you don't even know that it's happening to you? That's the thing. This guy's probably getting abducted and he don't even know. He just thinks he's waking up in his bed, and there he's nonchalant, like, hey, okay, I hope they show up today, or maybe they came last night, I don't know. But this is a lot of activity that's happening there in his home. These extraterrestrials have already reached out, not reached out and talked to him in a sense, but uh, they tend to come close to him for some reason. Maybe they're communicating with him, or maybe they want him to give people a message, maybe of some sort. And that's the possibility of what it possibly is, right? And that's the things that we have to assume. We just assume, right? So let's talk about the extraterrestrial and the abduction. What happens in an abduction, and maybe they did abduct him, maybe they didn't. But this one photo I have right here came maybe about 3 weeks ago, and it's somebody took this inside of a craft, right? Inside of a UFO. And I've posted this picture on my Facebook. I've posted it in other places, and people that have gotten abducted and have been inside of ships have said this is exactly what it looks like, right? And there it is. This is what it looks like inside the ship. They say it's like foggy, and you see the color, how it's kind of it's not gray. It's like a melted metal of some sort. And everything kind of seems like it's molded, but there's like a table there. And this is what people are said that they see inside of these crafts. And people have seen this, and they said, yes, this is it. This is what is inside of these craft. Now, did somebody grab a photo, and we're actually looking at an actual photo? And when I sent this to Chat GPT just to see if it was AI and it's any kind of manipulated CGI, and it says no, it wasn't. This is an actual photo, right? So are we actually looking at something that nobody's ever seen before? That was inside of a craft of maybe somebody that got abducted. And they always say that in the center of the craft, if you're actually looking at this picture, at the center of the craft, at the dome, it looks like a dome, and it looks like light is coming through the very top, like maybe there's a glass, or they say that sometimes you could see light come through, or you can see the space, or when they're traveling. Uh, and this is why this photo kind of resonated with a lot of people because of it. This is what they say, yes, this is what it is. This is what's inside of the ships, and people call us crazy and nuts. They think you're nuts. That didn't happen to you. No, but when you have 10 people or 15 people and say, hey, that's what it looks like inside the ship, or that's where they took me, then they're not nuts. They're not crazy, right? So this is why, sometimes you have to, not sometimes, you actually, if you're into ufology or anything like that, you have to keep an open mind, man. You keep an open mind, because they a lot of people will just tell me, hey, you just believe in that devil stuff, is a devil. No, well, no, I believe in good and I believe in evil, and I believe in what's in between, right? These things are in between, right? So it's not that we're believing the devil, the God. No. We're keeping an open mind. We're saying, okay, these things do exist and they're out there, and this is what we're trying to show people here at Alien Strand and all these other podcasts that possibly do what I do, um, show you the proof and break it down for you a little bit so you can make you think a little bit, right? Of what you're seeing or what you're not, right? So if this is an actual inside of a craft, then hey, man, I believe them. I believe that people have been inside and have seen the inside of these crafts, and they do look like this. So if anything ever happens to you, if you get abducted or anything like, at least you know what you're probably going to see when you get inside of there, right? I'm not making a joke about it, but you know, it's just kind of it gets me thinking a lot about what we're seeing, right? Now, we've been talking about extraterrestrials, abductions, the craft. What about other things that are around us that we don't understand, which are almost like humanistic or interdimensional beings of some sort, right? Or maybe some kind of spiritual form of an entity that we don't understand if it's extraterrestrial, interdimensional, or spiritual, right? We don't know what it is, but we see them because there's photos out there of what people see, right? And here's one. This woman caught this photo at night, and if you could see the center of this being is illuminated, right? And you can see the ground illuminated underneath, around it. The trees are bright. Everything around this being is illuminated, right? So you know something is happening within, right? Something is happening within. And we're trying to understand what we're seeing here. And that's the strangest part about this photo that we're trying to figure out, right? And are these interdimensional? Maybe us in the future, or maybe us in past lives that we're able to come through and communicate somehow or some way, right? Because remember, we're in consciousness. We're now in the consciousness. These things are beyond that. It can travel into different dimensions everywhere, right? And that's just a photo, right? But what if you saw a video of one of these interdimensional beings, right? Here's one in Brazil. I'm going to show you this video. And something was appearing in the forest, and there was a bunch of people around in the forest. I guess there was a family gathering, and they saw something just start illuminating in the forest, and this is what they got.
Como se alguém queimou, sei lá, raio, ou uma coisa, sei lá, que tá queimando aí, ó. Tem fogo assim bonito. Né, gente? Já tinha visto assim, né? Quando a gente passou lá. Quando ia chegar, ela tava papai, ela normalmente depois parece que caiu algo, né? Eu acho que caiu alguma coisa aí, meu, do céu, sei lá. Eu acho. Porque é uma luz diferente, ela não aumenta. Ela não aumenta. Pode ver que ela... Pode voltar, bora! Ei, volta! Ei, pai, e a fumaça dela é diferente, né? Caiu alguma coisa do céu, pai? Gente, foi alguma coisa que caiu do céu aí, gente. E detalhe, gente, não diminui e nem aumenta. Vamos pra frente aí, vai principal. Vai aí, cara. Aqui. Não vai pra lá, não. Caiu. Olha, tem outro bem ali, ó. Tem outro bem ali, ó. Bora embora. Tem outro bem ali, ó. Vamos lá pra ele, tá clarinho lá, ó. Não, mas tem outro lá ali, ó. Olha, tá tipo um redemoinho lá.
All right, so they're freaking out because they're seeing this thing just appear out of nowhere, right? kind of freaky, isn't it? Right? After showing that picture, but these things do happen in forestry areas, right? And it all of a sudden started dimming out. Is it extraterrestrial or interdimensional? Right? And of course, people were starting to approach it. Once they started approaching it, it started dimming itself back. And that's what you start seeing in the video, right? And it gets you wondering of what's in between, of what's there or what's not, right? So you have to wonder about these things sometimes of interdimensional, or is it extraterrestrial, or is it something trying to reach out from the other side, or are they just trying to connect with us as humans, right? And maybe they're trying to say something. Maybe they are. I don't know. But this is why luckily, we have people out there who are recording these things, who are seeing these things and are posting them out there, which are real. These things are not AI. Of course, AI videos can only be like, 30 seconds or whatever, and these videos are pretty long. So you're pretty much noticing that something is happening there, right? Something is happening there. And it's I can't tell you what it is or what it's not, because I don't even know. But I'm sure if you did see something like that, you would put out your phone pretty quick and start videotaping the same way. And I just don't know how how to explain that any more than what these interdimensional beings are, or they could be spiritual. Like I said earlier, when these things pop out. I've seen several photos of them from different countries all over the world, and some of them do take form as a human being. Some of them just take form as just a elongated sphere, and they look just like this, right? It's strange of what it is. But let's watch this quick video real quick, and then we'll talk about that.
When someone says, do you believe in extraterrestrials, or do you believe in aliens, aliens visiting the Earth? I don't believe anything. I know. I know from personal, direct experience. In the Brotherhood, there's a hierarchy. There's a chain of command. In my position, access to the higher levels of chain of command led me to Area 51 and many other sites around the world where extraterrestrial technology exists, including extraterrestrials. The main purpose, remember, of the Brotherhood, you don't want the masses to have control over their ability to create their reality and create their lives. So I have to warn people that when you hear this, to try to open up a sense of possibility of what is potentially real. There is a truth. They don't want you to know the ultimate truth, but there is a truth, and it's not what you think.
Yeah, it's truth. It is not what you think, right? What I showed you earlier. And he's telling you himself, hello, these things do exist. He went to Area 51, the Brotherhood, these guys covering it up. Yeah. And it is what it is, man, since the 1940s, right? Since the early 1940s, because there was, before the 1947 crash, there was an actual crash before that in 1942. But people never talk about that one, but it did exist at a time, right? And there is a story or two about it out there, about that crash, and like he said, these things do exist, and this is why I'm showing you here on this podcast. I want you to understand what you're seeing here, and what the things that I'm trying to tell you is. I'm just being upfront with you and up forward with you, so that way you understand that everything that I'm telling you is what you're seeing, because I always say it, seeing is believing, right? It's kind of hard to see, believe in ghosts, because we can't see them, but we do see the paranormal activity that does happen, right? But in this sense of extraterrestrials, we do see them in a physical form, and we do see what they do, and we do see them outside their crafts and what they're doing, walking around, looking at us, we do see all of that. So if seeing is believing, well, I would be a pretty good believer of believing that as well, right? Because of the things that come away, not away, but from these things, right? And what you're coming away from today is at least you learned a little bit today about extraterrestrials and what it's all about, and what happens to people when they're attracted to these extraterrestrials. Of course, we saw Juanito Juan, who was there's that one extraterrestrial that's attracted to him for some reason. I'm not saying a sexual attraction, but it's an attraction as far as they're going and visiting him daily, right? Daily, all the time. They're visiting him because there's something about him that they're actually intrigued about him for some reason. And he's actually showing the world exactly what it is, right? Some people are attracted to these things, right? And once you make contact, that's it. That's pretty much it. You're pulled in just like I was, just like you guys are. Even if you've seen it or you haven't seen them, you get pulled in, man. You do. And sometimes it can get overwhelming. My friend Anibal, he helps so many people out there, and he's on my last film. You'll see him. You saw him on the opening credits of this podcast, and on the middle part 4 trailer, that he helps so many people. It gets overwhelming sometimes. So you have to just step away from it for a little while. And that's what this will do to some folks. It does. Right. And you have to kind of go forward with your research as far as the age of disclosure with um, this film that just came out talking about the senators, the governors, and all these people that know and don't know and that are saying yes or saying no. I saw this guy that knows this guy that knows this guy, but I can't tell you. I can't show you. That's all you're going to get out of that, really, in reality. I'm not saying not to watch the film, but on those, me personally, you're not going to get what you're looking for. You might get a little bit more than the last one, but once we start piecing these a little bit together, which I'm glad they made that film because it helps Disclosure get out there a little bit further, gives us another notch, right? Another notch in the belt to get closer to the truth. But as I was talking about, people are, uh, these extraterrestrials are attracted to him. I'm going to show you this last video of this guy that they visit him constantly. People called him fake, all kinds of stuff, but he has too much photos and videos of why they were around so much. I'm going to show this to you real quick.
Oh my God. Look at that. Holy shit. Oh my God, what's it doing? Holy shit. Oh man. Where the fuck did it go? Oh my God.
Hell no. Yeah. And why do they come at night? I don't know. Sometimes I think they're there to scare the hell out of you. But what's the best way not to be seen, right? At nighttime, right? So some people are really close to these things, and these things get really, really close to them. As far as that, I wanted to show you that last video because it's important for you guys to understand that how these things can actually be close to us as possible, and then of course we love watching Mr. Skinny Bob here. He's we've seen this over and you know what, they still can't debunk this. They cannot debunk this. As many times as you've seen it in documentaries and everything, this film cannot be debunked at all, period. Yeah. Why? Yeah, it's especially at the time when it was made, right? And that's why people just don't understand. There's gonna be many species of extraterrestrials, and that's just one of maybe hundreds or thousands of them, right? But we just got to keep our eyes in the sky, keep looking, and keep researching over and over, and keep these documentaries coming, man. They do help a lot of people to understand, and that's what my films do. The middle, part 1, part 2, part 3, all of them, they help people understand more about the extraterrestrials, right? about everything. Those are all my films right there. 1, 2, and 3 are already out on Amazon Prime. And of course, we're working on 4 right now. And I hope to have that out here maybe by summertime. I knew I said December of this past year, but it's a little harder on editing on the films, right? So please be on the lookout for the middle part 4. It's called Redemption, all right? So it's going to be about an hour and 15, an hour and 20 minutes long. Documentary. So I'm about more than halfway there on it, and it's really great. Just with what I've and I've showed to one of the people that are in the film. The only reason I showed it to her because she's really sick, and I wanted her to see it. You know, I'm not saying she's going anywhere, but she's not. But I just wanted to make sure she at least saw what we did and what the film that I've come so far with. And I hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast. I'm sorry it didn't come out on Facebook, but I'll get the little kinks out again. I'll have to figure out what happened, but at least you got to see it here on Rumble. You got to see it out here on YouTube. Thank you for watching, guys on X. Thank you for watching on X as well. I see 5 people watching on X. Thank you guys for watching. And I do give a lot of information here on extraterrestrials, and we're here to teach you a little bit, if you want to learn. So go to Facebook, go to click on all my links. When you see it out there, I'll put it on this podcast, and you'll click on that and you'll be able to see everything. Follow us on our Facebook, Instagram, everything, especially Patreon. Go to Patreon, man. Go check us out on Patreon. It's free. Sign up for free, and I'll throw a lot of different stuff that I don't throw on these other platforms, right? I do this platform because I get to show you photos and videos and do presentations, and which is great. I love doing that. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast. Thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. You guys have yourself a happy new year. Be safe out there. Stay home. All right. If you're going to stay home. All right. And keep your eyes in the skies. Look, once they start popping all these fireworks and all this stuff's going off, if you live out in the country, look at the sky. You're going to see a lot of activity. For some reason, every time these 4th of July, New Year's Day, you're going to see a lot of activity because they want to see what's going on. So when you'll see these UFOs start popping up, right? Get some good video, man. Send it to me. And maybe I'll show it on the next podcast here. All right, guys. You guys have yourselves a good day. I appreciate each and every one of you. We'll see you on the next one. Have an amazing 2026 New Year. Love you guys. See you later.
Then it start coming towards my direction. And it will be either coming from this direction, coming this from the south, coming this one nice and slow. You end up stopping right in front, about two blocks away from me.
I was sleeping and he woke me up. It was about 3:30 in the morning, and he said, "You have to come and look at these lights." And
Come here, it's okay. Let me spirit.
Automatically looked up to see this. All I can describe, this huge Mexican hut. It was stationary, this thing.
Like a sleep paralysis that you get. You can't move, you're frozen, you can yell all you want. Your partner could be right next to you, your wife, and they can hear you, but you see something what's going on.
I was inside of a ship about 18 feet in diameter.
things started happening immediately, almost.